Anyway, right. Hello and welcome to an AVForums short video overview of the ATC SCM20ASL active stand mount loudspeaker. My name is Ed Selly, I'm the hi-fi editor for AVForums. I've wanted to review this loudspeaker for AVForums for a very long time. And the fact it's a very long time should be a clue to one of the reasons why I haven't. The SCM20 is one of the longest running products I can think of off the top of my head. The fundamental basis of this loudspeaker dates all the way back to 1990. It's been tweaked and sort of upgraded since then, but it's been in continuous production for the best part of 30 years. Now, as reviews tend towards the new, rather than revisiting something that knew what it was doing when Mrs. Thatcher was kicked out, no, we haven't been able to do it. However, this is new. Well, I mean, it's sort of new. Effectively, you've been able to buy the SCM20 studio control monitor, incidentally, 20 signifying a cabinet volume of 20 litres. They're nothing if not logical, ATC. And there's also been an active version. ATC is very, very keen on active loudspeakers. It's been a part of what the company does for some time. Until comparatively recently, though, the active version of this was a floor stander. It had the same basic performance, but it was a self-contained speaker. Then, more recently than that, ATC announced a limited edition run of a stand mount active SCM20 in a blue finish, supplied with the option of a subwoofer in an equally blue and lovely loud finish. It's done very well, and as a result of that, you can now buy the SCM20 active on its own and not in blue. It comes in all the same finishes that the rest of the ATC range comes in. What does that entail? It is a two-way, as you can see, sealed box loudspeaker. These drivers are a 25mm soft dome tweeter and 150mm mid bass driver. They are designed and built by ATC at ATC. I've been to the factory. It's a tremendous place. I've seen their voice coil winding machine. It looks unique, but it does an extraordinarily good job. Nothing about this is sort of farmed out to other people. Obviously, components have to be bought in from other suppliers, but they're the components that ATC wants. They're used in the way they want to use them. And when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of stuff that they want to do to the standards they want to do it, it is done in-house. What makes this an active speaker, obviously, is the presence of an amplifier and a crossover. ATC calls it a power pack because ATC doesn't mess around. It is a 250 watt Class AB unit. There is a socking great heatsink on the back and some grab handles. That may seem like overkill, but I've had to move these around and I can assure you it is not. This 250 watt output is divided 50 watts to the tweeter, 200 watts to the mid bass driver. It is solely accessible by a single XLR connection on the back of the unit. This is not a smart active loudspeaker. You will need the bones of an audio system to connect to it. It is not going to do anything on its own. This is how ATC does active loudspeakers. It is how they have always done active loudspeakers. It is not a direct competition to the Sonos Fabers, the Kefs of this world, which are self-contained bits of hi-fi equipment. That being said, there's so many different things that you can use to run one of these things in 2025 that I don't consider that to be much of an impediment. I've done most of the testing for these upstairs. I haven't shot videos upstairs because I don't really want to shoot videos in my bedroom, but nevertheless they've been tested upstairs, and for the most part I've used a Blue Sound Node Icon because it's absolutely superb for the task. But my word, we've tested enough things over the last 2 to 3 years that would be equally proficient. You really shouldn't feel limited in what you can connect. Absolutely key to what makes the active version a little bit different as a performance proposition to the passive version is that the power pack is fitted with both the means of adjusting the bass roll-off and the sensitivity. The long and the short of it is that it should work with pretty much everything, and if you accept that there will be a limit to the absolute SPL that the speaker can achieve, and according to ATC, at least some effects in absolute linearity, you can tweak the bass response to give you a little bit more at the bottom end. Up to 3 dB is possible. You can also actually reduce it in the other direction if you're looking to partner them up with subs and so on and so forth. There will be some people watching this video for whom the output of this speaker on its own will not be enough. If you need sort of seismic feel it in your colon style bass, a sealed 20-litre loudspeaker, regardless of how much power is being shoved up it, is not going to do that. But, as we'll cover, I think for most people, you might find that you get away without the need for a subwoofer with a bit of use with that bass trim. It's also worth pointing out that this thing is built like a lorry. I've tried to shoot some bits of video, and I don't think I'm going to get across quite how this thing feels, because it feels different to almost anything else I've tested in a very long time. It has the niceties of a high-end loudspeaker. ATC is very, very good at veneering, and they have some phenomenal veneers. But when you put a bouncer in a sharp suit, it's still a very large, angry man in a sharp suit. This is built with a view to it lasting forever, basically. I mean, the front baffle is a thing of magnificence. There's really nothing else, even at £6,500, that feels like it's going to last in the way that this thing does. For many people, the idea of pro audio being limited to pro capacities is a nonsense, and this is a way of having something which is emphatically very pro indeed, with just a nod to domestic sensibilities. Some of the cost option veneers are absolutely fabulous. You are invited to pay extra for them, but there's very little else at the price, even from brands we associate with being good at veneering, that can touch what ATC is able to do if you decide to cross their path with silver. How does this work in reality? This is a speaker where the acronym says Studio Control Monitor. It is used in pro applications, and it behaves like a pro product. If you play compressed, shouty, angry music on it, it will sound compressed, shouty and angry. That is its job. That is what it is designed to do. This being said, it's not merciless for the sake of being merciless. It will point out flaws in less than stellar recordings, but it does so in a relatively apologetic way. Some of the comments online suggest that it's, take your face off aggressive, and it really isn't. With the Icon in particular, I found it to be a thoroughly amenable partner. I mean, it may be a reflection as I move gracelessly into middle age. Some of the music I'm listening to is slightly better recorded than it used to be, but nevertheless, the basic premise is that it's capable of sounding quite civilized. It's also phenomenally accurate in terms of tonality, detail, and its ability to generate a stereo image. It's top drawer, really, and because it is sealed, it fundamentally just cracks on with the job of doing what it does, largely speaking, in complete abeyance of the room surroundings that it's in. If you absolutely ram them up against a rear wall, I'm sure you'd get some form of reinforcement, but for the most part, it's pretty much down the line and does what it does, regardless of where you put it. It can be genuinely good fun as well. Again, no bass port means that this driver goes like the clappers. I've been listening to things, high tempo, complex time signatures, all the rest of it, grist for the mill for this speaker. Absolutely down the line, goes like the clappers. It's not adding or augmenting anything to it. It's just revealing what's there on the recording. And if the recording is good fun, it's good fun as a result of it. I have found the bass response to be enough. Essentially, some crude measurements in room suggest once the 2 dB output is applied, coupled with a slight sort of node sympathetically helping it along, it's cleaned down to 50 Hertz. Now, 50 Hertz may not be enough for you. I'll be honest, it's been enough for me. So your mileage may vary. Don't forget ATC makes a selection of delightful subwoofers as well, and there are plenty of options if the fancy took you. But I'd try without, at least to begin with. It's worth noting as well that whatever ATC says about using the bass boost affecting absolute SPL levels, you'd have to be pretty free of neighbours to trouble the maximum output of this. With the Icon, even in the less sensitive input position, I've had gain for days. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Would I buy a pair? I knew this was going to be a good product, but I'm in many ways more enamoured with it, having spent some time with it, than I thought I was going to be. It's easier to live with than I felt might be the case for an ATC monitor. It is just forgiving enough tolerant enough of mistakes for it not to be something that you only wheel out for your decent tracks. It's worked superbly as a source for television, and there's just enough domestic sensibility to it to make it work in most people's lounges. It's a lot of money, but then again, it is half a system. It's amplification and loudspeakers. It doesn't need a huge amount of front end, as the use of £900 Node Icon has demonstrated fairly well. If I was looking for an active loudspeaker, the pedigree, the experience and the engineering that ATC demonstrates really does show through here, and I have to consider it pretty much the best example of its type. We'll be looking at some more active loudspeakers over the coming months. It's an increasingly large sort of product category, but you can see what happens when people who have decades of experience decide to go and make one of their products a little bit smaller. It is a little bit smaller, but it is every single bit as good. If you've enjoyed this little ramble through Gloucestershire's finest, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. There will be more content, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Goodbye.